Hey guys, my name is Dimitri and welcome to the Riffle Fan tutorial. The Riffle Fan is a pretty old move of mine, but it's definitely one of my favorite creations ever. It was originally published in my DVD Monument, produced by Theory 11, but I had a huge amount of requests for an upgraded version of that move. And I have to admit that the way that I teach it in the DVD is not really up to date with the way I perform it now. So grab a deck and let's get into it. So before learning the actual mechanics, you really have to understand how it's supposed to look. It's almost no visible motion from the hand and a lot of card motion. All that in the most natural possible hand position. Please also understand that the formation of the fan is as important, if not more, than the fan itself. The left hand starts as a modified dealer's grip, the main difference being the index curled under the deck to serve as a pivot point. Keep in mind that any fingers could be used for this fan. In fact, you can use many objects like a pen or a tug box or even the corner of a table. But like I said earlier, we're going for the most natural way possible. And that's one of the two reasons why I use my index. Now, what part of the fingers should contact the cards? You're going to curl your index until only your nail touches the bottom card of the deck. If you don't curl enough, the tip of your finger will touch. And if you curl too much, the flesh from your knuckle will get in the way. It's rather easy to find the right balance. And where exactly do you place that fingernail? Just like a thumb fan, the closer you are to the edge of the deck, the bigger the fan will be. For example, if my pivot point is right here, I get a rather small fan. If it's right here, I get a much bigger fan. Now, understand that it will be a little bit harder to get a huge fan because it will be a little bit less stable. So if it's your first time doing that move, don't be too ambitious. About the lateral position of the nail, again, just like a thumb fan, it will not affect the size of the fan, but it will change how the fan looks. It's just a matter of opinion. For example, if my pivot point is right here and I do a thumb fan, I get a small outer fan and almost no inner fan. And if my pivot point is right here, I get no outer fan and a big inner fan. Now it's just a matter of opinion, like I said, but for the Riffle fan, my sweet spot is about right here, close to the left corner. Now that you have your pivot point, all the other left-hand fingers will extend just before the riffling action from the right hand, which we will cover in a second. And one of the most important things to remember is that the left hand shouldn't move at all. It just stays like this during the whole fan. That's probably the most common mistake I see with beginners when they try to learn this move. They try to support the fan by extending the fingers while the fan is forming, but that just doesn't work. Your hands have to stay still during the whole riffling action, and your index has to stay curled exactly the same way during the fan. The right hand takes care of the riffling action, which is in fact more of a dribble than a riffle, but just without separating your hands. The grip is actually pretty similar to Bonho's Anaconda, so I'll get into it briefly. Let's take a look at the finger position. The thumb is on the inner edge, very close to the left corner. The index is extended and touches the left edge of the deck. And the middle, ring and pinky, are on the outer edge of the deck. You should hold the deck with only the very tip of your fingers. Now your thumb is going to riffle the cards upward, and you're gonna add a little bit of counter pressure not too much, with your index. A good way to practice the riffling action is to do it like this. Once you're comfortable with this, you can try to combine the left hand technique that we just learned with the riffling action to create an actual fan. You're going to have a little problem though. The right hand middle, ring and pinky will start blocking the card motion in the middle of the formation. Here. This part is a bit tricky and hard to explain, but to avoid that, you will need to slide your fingers upward and extend them during the formation of the fan, in order to leave enough space for the card to spin around the pivot point, just like that. So the fingers go up and extend. I've seen a lot of people starting the Riffle Fan with the deck vertical and ending it with the deck horizontal. While this little motion can make it a bit easier for the fan to spin, I would really advise against it. The whole point of the Riffle Fan is that the fan forms itself with almost no hand motion at all. So, a little tilt to the right and a little tilt to the front is all you need. That's how you have the best effect, in my opinion. With the deck almost flat, it's really hard for the audience to understand the gravity motion that is going on, and that adds some wonder to the performance. It's also possible, if you're performing for a wider audience, to create the fan completely vertically. Now, this gives a completely other effect, but it's also pretty cool. It looks like this. It really looks like you're defying gravity with this one. It's a little bit harder and you will need a more broken index and add more pressure between your index and the fan. If you're just starting with the Riffle Fan, I would really suggest that you stick with the first method. The pressure that you need to apply between both hands is probably the most important thing that you need to get with this fan. Too much pressure will feel safer at first, but you won't get any spins. And not enough pressure, and you will just end up with the card on the floor. So you will need to find the perfect balance, and the only real way to do that is to experiment a lot. Once you have reached 360 degrees, or more if you want a bigger fan, stop the riffling action and apply pressure with the right hand to stop the card from spinning. With your extended thumb, reach under the right hand until you find the pivot point, right above your left index. This is, by the way, the other reason why I use my index and not the thumb or any other finger for the pivot points. It eliminates an unnecessary regrip. At this point, I usually align my left hand fingers with the index to help support the fan. After that, all you need to do is move the right hand out of the way to display the fan. A great tip that I got from Kevin Ho is to slide your hand forward to accentuate the reveal. It's just a more dramatic way to end your move. Since you're already hiding a big part of the fan, you might as well just make a big deal out of the final display. If you choose to do a fan that is a little bit less than 360 degrees, you can just simply close the fan using a one-handed closer. If the fan is a full circle or more, the final grip isn't in the most stable position, and it's probably a good way to close the fan using both hands. I usually support the closing action with my right index and middle finger under the fan. Alright, thanks for watching. We really hope you like the move. Don't hesitate to comment below if you have any questions. Like the video and subscribe, we have many more content coming out for you guys. See you next time.